So again, thank you everybody for joining us, and Jeremy, I will hand it over to you.
Thank you so much for the great introduction, and thank you all for attending today. I really wanted to provide a focus for you all today as to the success stories that we've had surrounding home energy information, connecting to brokers, agents, their processes with transactions, the multiple listing services, and the advertising sites that they use as they're helping home buyers in the consumer market. So I will give you a brief background on RESO first and what we're doing at a high level, but then I'll focus on some real world examples of where we've got good implementations in the industry and are being able to augment real estate data with home energy information to help the consumers have a smarter home buying experience and help the brokers and agents have higher value on many of their listings they're transacting, as well as a shorter time on the market by including that type of information. I know that you all just heard the overview of RESO. Just a couple of extra bullet points. So we are a nonprofit open source standards organization. We are membership based. And the reason being is that members are the only ones that are allowed to contribute to RESO standards evolution. That allows us to be a true open source organization. So anything that is published and produced is then free and open source to use in any industry out there by anyone without having a concern of an intellectual property rights violation. Today, we now have over 800 member organizations of different categories, but they include technology companies, brokerages, brokers and agents, affiliated companies like the National Association of Realtors and the Council of MLS. We have energy entities that are also members like the Green Button Alliance, as well as Pivotal Energy, and I'll have some examples about them later. And then one item we do besides facilitating the management of standards at RESO is we also provide certification services so that we help companies adopt the standards correctly, and we help them also be able to advertise to their constituents and their customers that they are in compliance and using RESO standards, are knowledgeable, and can be able to reap the benefits that they do so for everyone that's involved with those. To do a couple of highlights, today we have over 900,000 brokers and agents that are represented through brokerage memberships. I couldn't put all the logos here of every brokerage membership that we have, but we do cover all the large franchise like Realogy, Keller Williams, Remax, Next Home, and Berkshire Hathaway Home Services of America. But we also have independent brokerages that are direct members, even ones that are small that only have 2 or 3 brokers and agents within their brokerage company. So we like to put the brokerage at the forefront of what we do at RESO strategically, and work to have them at the table facilitating the evolution of standards to ensure we're meeting the goals of the brokers and the agents transacting real estate. I like to communicate to everyone that without the e-commerce aspects of real estate transactions, most of us are not employed in this industry, and so we really want to have a focus. But we also recognize from a technology perspective, technology companies are the products and services power behind the brokers, and as such we have many of the major real estate technology companies and those affiliated companies represented. Again, not enough room to show all of the logos, but we have startup companies. We have a lot of companies that come from the startup community doing blockchain solutions. We have very large companies such as CoreLogic, Homes.com, Realtor.com, Zillow, Black Diamond Financial Services that also participate in the facilitation and evolution of standards for the good of the industry. And we like to say that everyone competes in the real world, but in the RESO community, they work together. They take their competitive hats off at the door and work to find solutions. Many people are familiar with the Bluetooth world. It's easy to pair, if you will, from a Bluetooth perspective. And so we like to have the same set of cooperation from companies that do compete but can work together for those type of benefits out in the industry. And as many of you are aware, we do work with many multiple listing services in the US as well as Canada, and are starting to work with some multiple listing service entities in Europe and in Australia as well. Their models are much different than the US, but we are continuing to work with them. We have over 400 multiple listing services that are active RESO members and work to connect their data with standards to the brokerage and technology community that are out there. From a perspective of Bluetooth analogy, what we really would like to solve is the disparate data sources that are out there that cause brokers and agents pain point when they just want to plug in their products and services to different types of data to help them list properties, market properties, or educate consumers on what the property has, including home energy information. So we really strive to have a plug-and-play solution for data in the real estate industry and really encompass all aspects of data so that those brokers and agents can plug in whatever tool and service they need to use to aid the consumers market their home or purchase a property. From a home energy perspective, we would like to do the same with the information that's there, and I'm going to show some real-world examples of where we've actually had great successes in doing so. We see a perfect world where home energy information that is available by the trusted companies that have that green data, as we like to term it, can be able to sync that data in with the brokers and the agents' listings into the multiple listing service, and also have that data present on national websites, agent websites, and the products and services brokers and agents are using in-house for marketing, lead generation, etc. And so this is a slide I've used in the past, so where we want to do what's similar done with tax data today in all of the markets is allow those verified green data sources to push data into multiple listing services so it can then be distributed out to the brokerage and internet and consumer community, as at the same time, by using those trusted sources, it takes the agent's error out of play so that the agent doesn't have to hand enter the information. That's the most perfect world, but at least from today's perspective, we have a lot of MLSs supporting greenfield so the agent can directly enter in that information when they haven't established a trusted source or sources for that type of data. To take a look at our work products just briefly with RESO, we really focus on two standards. The data dictionary, which I will focus on more today, it's our Rosetta Stone for MLS data in the real estate industry. We have a data dictionary wiki that is available. I'll show you a couple of bigger screenshots of that. Our current data dictionary has over 3,000 fields and values available now in a standardized fashion. Our new version that will come out probably at the beginning of next year is going to have over 4,000 fields and values. A value, as we call a pick list value, is typically a feature an agent might select, such as an Energy Star rated appliance as a value that would be accompanied by a field, if you will, that talks about kitchen features. And then the second standard that we manage is the RESO Web API. This is the delivery mechanism standard from an MLS or another trusted data source out to the broker and agent products and services, and even vice versa now, is their standard supports bi-directional data flow. And so home energy companies can use the RESO Web API standard to push data directly into an MLS or to pull data from the MLS. And so that is the standard that we use that's similar to the Bluetooth standard that allows your voice to be transmitted from an Apple phone over to a Samsung or LG headset or Bluetooth speaker. So that transmission is what we do in the real estate sector for the real estate data with the RESO Web API. Where are we with adopting standards? The good news is that globally, in the United States, over 94% of brokers and agents have data dictionary compliant MLSs. Approximately 70% of them have the API in place. It's on its way to about 80 to 90% here in the next few months, but we will have 100% coverage overall. There is a National Association of Realtors policy that mandates all multiple listing services which are owned or operated by the realtor community adopt RESO standards and stay current with those standards within 1 year of ratification by the RESO Board of Directors. So once we have a certifiable standard that is open source and available to the public, the MLSs have 1 year by NAR policy to adopt that. and we provide certification services not only to help them implement it, but allow them to demonstrate their compliance with the policy. Specifically, we have done an enormous amount of work in adding in home energy fields and values within the data dictionary. And essentially, we define green fields for home energy information. And we want to have that pave the way so data integration at the multiple listing service can be pretty seamless between energy data entities. So we essentially create a mapping superhighway to connect the dots of energy information right into the multiple listing service and be able to facilitate that. One aspect of our data dictionary is we did map all of the RESO data dictionary fields to the BEADS specification, that's the Building Energy Data Exchange specification that many in the energy entities use in the industry, like the Department of Energy and a lot of the companies that have data in the HP XML format as well. From a certification perspective, we created levels to help MLSs adopt the RESO data dictionary more gradually. And in doing so, we assigned different levels to different specific fields so they would not have a very large undertaking to adopt the data dictionary from the first stance. With that being said, as the years go by, we raise the bar on what we certify. And so today I'm happy to report that all of the green fields that we have standardized in the data dictionary are marked silver, and MLSs must adopt silver or higher at this time. To be clear, what that means is if an MLS has the field, they have to do it the RESO data dictionary way. So we don't enforce them to add fields. For example, it would not make sense in Nebraska to make the multiple listing services add distance to volcano in miles like you have in Hawaii. And so as long as Nebraska is compliant with their fields that they do have against RESO data dictionary, then that qualifies to be certified. The reason that that's important is I'm often asked, who has implemented green fields? We do check all the fields, but it's not a requirement to implement all the green fields in the data dictionary by an MLS to be certified. It's only required to make sure that they match the standard if they do have them. Many of the MLSs have added green fields over the years, and we're helping to promote that activity. And I'll show some examples later during our webinar today from that perspective. Today, over 500 MLSs have silver or higher data dictionary certification. So if they do have green fields, you can be rest assured that they're certified now on having them properly formatted to the RESO data dictionary standard. We not only certify MLSs, but we also certify brokerages and technology companies. We want everyone in the industry to understand how to use standards correctly for the benefits that the standards provide each of those stakeholders. I'm happy to report today Pivotal Energy, as an example, is RESO certified for core MLS fields such as property address, as well as all the green fields and values that they have available. They do work in North Carolina with solar data. That solar data that they hold in North Carolina is RESO data dictionary certified, so they can seamlessly connect that information directly into the MLS in the same format. And when that's presented into the MLS, you can be assured that it's mapped correctly and it's more accurate because they are matching that standard and they are certified. We want to help other home energy information technology partners adopt RESO standards so they can also work in their local markets with multiple listing services and other technology companies that work surrounding real estate transactions for brokers and agents. Just a brief view as to what we do have within the data dictionary. This is a picture from the navigational pane of the wiki itself, and you can see we've got performance groups and green marketing and green verification groups defined within the RESO data dictionary. This is not all of them, this is just an example of that, and so you can drill down easily in the different fields and values that are there, such as green energy generation and the lookups, which would be solar and wind as an example from that perspective. If we take a look at an actual detailed view, this is the green building verification type, and this is what it looks like in the data dictionary wiki. And we have this designed to help people understand, have a good definition, which matches the Department of Energy's definition. And you can see there we have some different synonyms for what this actually supports, the property types. And where you see the lookups on the right-hand column, you will also notice that there's a link there. That way you can click into and see all the verification types we have standardized, and we want to continue to grow that as we support the various implementations and innovations in home energy information. If we take a look at Zero Energy Ready Home, there's an example here of how we show the beads mapping between the data dictionary. So this is our definition, and then there is the beads definition of Energy Star certified homes that matches the Zero Energy Ready Home definition within RESO. So this helps connect together the energy partners and the data that they have with the MLS and real estate partners and the data they have through the data dictionary. Want to now look into some resources that we have available for everyone in the industry. First, through the Better Buildings Accelerator Program for Home Energy Information, the Council of MLS, the Center for Realtor Technology, National Association of Realtors Home Sustainability Division, Department of Energy, and RESO worked to put together the very first home energy information guide, taking the MLS to the consumer with home energy information. This is a very easy to use guide to help MLSs get started with connecting home energy data into their MLS. And it's been well received, and it's been available for over a year now. On top of this guide, most recently, the Council of MLS just partnered up and had a new guide created, a quick start guide with more details of how an MLS can implement greenfields. And from this guide, which is free to download at the Council of MLS's website, this helps MLSs start adopting greenfields, adding those into their MLS systems, and then adding those into data feeds out to the websites and the products and services brokers and agents use on a daily basis. This includes a green data management toolkit and has a lot of other resources and references also the NAR Green Addendum, as well as the Department of Energy PV Value Tool. And this is really a step-by-step guide that will help encourage MLSs to adopt green fields and deliver that as a value out to brokers and agents and to the end consumer. If you take a look at the URL on the screen, and just so everyone is aware, we are going to share the slide deck to all of those that registered and make it available. So if you're frantically taking notes, just know you'll be able to get a copy of the slide deck. The Council of MLS's URL is there, and you will find the green data best practices, the green sheets to solar power fields and AVMs, the quick start guide, and the home energy information guide. All of these are within the scope of the Council of MLS's MLS best practices that they promote out into the industry and really bring together MLSs with providing a better experience for the brokers and agents through best practices, with these being a focus on greening the MLS, if you will. At RESO, we have been working on success stories for adopting our standards. And I have a couple of global examples, and then I will dive directly into the home energy information aspects. MyTheo is a startup company, and they were struggling with implementing MLS data in a non-standardized manner. They went to the California Regional MLS and the Chicago MLS, NEREN, and just with 2 MLSs using RESO standards, they were able to take down their time to market from 6 to 7 weeks to 3 to 4 weeks using a certified RESO data feed. They actually reduced their staff by almost 40% to be able to integrate, and that was just within 2 MLSs. And we see as they grow MLSs, they actually get more efficient. A note of interest is that they're developers in Australia. They have no clue about the MLS market or the real estate market in general in the US, as they work in Australia, whereas a nationwide MLS, and it's a much different model. So they were able to gain these type of technical gains for their products without understanding the depths of the business side of the US real estate market. In addition to startups, we also worked with Homes.com. Homes.com has over 500 MLS data feeds integrated into their portal and a lot of back-end products and services for brokers and agents. They took on 6 MLSs and 3 MLS technology companies that were powering those, all through RESO certified feeds. And in doing so, once they were done with the implementation, they had a 92% reduction in the development time for adding an MLS into the Homes.com platform. They are converting all 500 data feeds over to RESO standards, but they are also converting their own infrastructure over to the RESO standards as well to make it more efficient for them. Today, they can add a new MLS in 2 hours with one engineer with a RESO certified data feed, which is pretty amazing because it used to take weeks and weeks. We have these case studies that are available on our website, and you can see the URL there at the bottom of the slides. There's a lot of detail. The Homes.com one is 16 pages roughly. So there's a lot of detail from a business perspective of what they did, how they did it, and where the savings came from in leveraging the standards for those MLSs. Then we have other companies that are doing the same. DocuSign, which provides transaction management rooms and electronic signatures for brokers and agents. They're aligning with RESO standards and using the RESO web API inside of their transaction rooms to transmit data between organizations as the transaction goes through different various stages of the process. Portland only offers IDX feeds, which stands for Internet Data Exchange between brokers, on RESO data standards. So they've discontinued offering their legacy data feeds, and they're only offering now certified RESO data feeds for their technology companies and brokerages. We have MLSs that, based upon the ability to provide efficiency and reduce costs, requiring now that their technology companies that consume data and brokers be compliant with RESO standards and be knowledgeable, and it's actually reduced their technical support volumes. Redfin, that's a growing national virtual broker without a traditional brick and mortar type of storefront, was able to change their resources from 4 to 6 weeks down to 1 week, from 4 to 6 engineers down to 1 engineer to integrate a new MLS into their brokerage products and services. So a huge win from their perspective. But where are we with greenfields and implementing those? In Portland, you may not recognize, but to close a home successfully, you have to have the home energy score. This city has a requirement that the home cannot be closed in a transaction unless the consumer has a knowledge of the home energy score. So the Portland MLS aligned the RESO greenfields with the Department of Energy home energy score, and now they auto-populate on agent entry the home energy score, so that requirement for closing with an agent is automatic for them. They don't have to hunt that information, and now they know it came from a trusted energy source and it's mapped correctly. Bright MLS has added the green fields and logic to prompt their users for green data with validation as part of that based upon the RESO standards. In Chicago, MRED automatically is sending data on utility cost with the listing agent and consumer approval into the MLS listed homes. In North Carolina, as I mentioned, Pivotal Energy became RESO Data Dictionary certified. They're now working with Raleigh, Greensboro, and Charlotte MLSs to auto-populate solar information. It can get confusing in the industry at times for solar information, knowing if it's leased or if it's owned or if it's utility company owned and it's a per kilowatt rate. Being able to have a trusted partner like Pivotal Energy takes the risk of the broker out of the agent not understanding how those solar panels are owned or operated on the home. And then just recently, West Penn Multilist adopted the green addendum for the first time, and they are working to implement greenfields within their MLS community. In Cincinnati, I'm happy to report in March, they held their very first Home Energy Expo as they launched 80 new greenfields into their MLS for the brokers and agents. They held out an expo where they expected around 100 people to attend. Over 300 people registered between brokers, agents, appraisal companies, and home energy information companies. And so it was a huge success. And now they're promoting those 80 fields out to the agents to be included. And most recently, Duke Energy is working with them to start auto-populating local utility information directly into the MLS using RESO standards. One thing that came out of this is actually input into RESO to evolve our standards to have air sealing as another value we have standardized, and to be able to bring that in so air sealing type of discussions can be brought in from a home energy efficiency perspective directly into the MLS. A more detailed view as to what we have in the industry is the New England Regional Information Network MLS, or NEREN as we like to call it. So they have over 10,000 MLS subscribers today. They are the primary multiple listing service for Vermont and New Hampshire, and they have also agents and brokers from Massachusetts and from Maine, and they can actually service all of the New England and New York bordering counties with the data that they have available. They've been greening their MLS since 2008, but they've really jumped ahead with the PV Learning Network, the Helix Advisory Committee, auto population, and supporting all kinds of green initiatives for the brokers and the agents through data integration and product availability. I have one graph that they provided, and these are compliments of Meg from NEREN, did these slides for us. She wasn't able to join us today, but she did put these out there. And so you can see some growing adoption in their marketplace from 2009 to 2017 as it relates to Energy Star, HERS, Department of Energy Home Energy Score, and PV Resi. And so they're getting great growing adoption into their marketplace from those aspects and getting that data into their system in a variety of ways. And I'll show you how those come in today. So what was their adoption process? You can see in 2009, they started scratching their head on fields to add using task force and comparing those. And at that time, they just went in with 15 building certifications and some field selections. But they started to move that forward in 2010 by adding the HERS index score into the MLS and also making that data available in data feeds that goes to brokers and agents and public facing websites that are out on the internet. They did some updates to their building certification fields, and they added the HERS database in Vermont directly into the MLS software. Most recently, in the past couple of years, they've adopted the RESO data standards surrounding green fields, and they've added green fields, solar PV, 70 new field selections in just the past year to be able to augment even further the home energy information that they have available. And what is their adoption in their future? They've added power production fields last year, green marketing fields. They've created new areas in the MLS system to make it easier on agents to enter the information. And then in October, they launched their PV auto population pilot program in Vermont. And so for this year, they're looking to also launch the same program in Massachusetts. And also they are beta testing the Home Energy Label Information Exchange, and they're doing all of this with RESO data standards. So they've provided out some resources to their brokers and agents. They are willing to share this information out to energy entities as well as other multiple listing services. So they provide these directly right into the MLS system to the brokers and agents so that they can understand what the power production fields are, what the HERS score is about, what does it mean, what data do they have on it, and as well of all the guides that are out there like the addendums and the other type of green fields that are there. I have a couple of screens to show you what it actually looks like. On their listing input forms for agents, you can see here they have the green marketing group that matches the RESO Data Dictionary green marketing group. And you can see green energy efficiency items such as HVAC, lighting, and roofing. You can see conservation methods under sustainability, on-site recycling centers. You can see verification programs such as Energy Star certified home, HERS scores, LEED for homes, etc. So these are all available today to agents to be able to enter that information in. And taking a look at the power production fields, you can see here that they're given the option to do power production to be able to support photovoltaics and wind and being able to give that out into data feeds. They've been adding in Energy Star appliance options, construction aspects surrounding home energy efficiency, specific equipment, interior features, exterior features, and even heating and cooling aspects like programmable and smart thermostats and passive solar. And if you take a look at what the feature list looks like, you can see highlighted here, they have quite a few additions that are surrounding home energy and efficiency information right there for the agents to select from. Now, we all know that agents are very busy. Sometimes they don't fill out all of the listing input forms in their entirety. And so as such, auto population, as I mentioned earlier, is a much more efficient aspect for loading that information in. So NEREN actually did a pilot in Vermont with PV Auto Pop. So they took the Vermont PV data, they scrubbed it, validated it. It wasn't in a RESO standardized manner, and that was auto-populated into their tax provider, CRS data, who's one of the large tax providers into MLSs and do auto-pop via the tax system today for other fields outside of home energy. They've added those into their CRS auto-populate program, and from that, it's auto-populated into their Paragon MLS system, which is created by Black Knight Financial Services. So now we have the option for agents to have this information automatically added in the RESO standardized manner when the agent inputs the listing. So they no longer have to hand enter this type of information into the MLS system. And you can see here, the power production aspect is autofill. So they have an option here for autofill in the MLS system, and the agent clicks that, and they have the tax information autofilled. Then they have the power production information autofilled at the click of a button as they're adding a listing. And we find the easier we make it on agents and brokers to add data into the listing information, the more likely they are to add that information that's there. And you can take a look at what the specifics look like. These were automatically populated, and the agent can go review these and verify that it is looking like they intended it to look when it's in the listing information sheet. NEREN has added into their MLS search for agents and brokers all of the green energy information. So they can now not only add the information in, they can create custom searches for different types of home energy information based upon agent entered and auto-populated information, so they can better serve their consumers who are looking for this type of home based upon the search they create for them. They also went so far as to create green property reports. So you'll see a ton of reports that are available for agents. There are agent green reports and custom green reports. So if a consumer would like to know just the green information about a particular property, the agent has an automatic report. They can print them out or email them right from their MLS system and make it as convenient as possible to get that information into the hands of the consumer. They also now distribute the data. So you can see here a data distribution panel that an agent can select to send their listing to Realtor.com, to Homes.com, to the HomeSnap product, to the Realtor's Property Resource, to List Hub that does data syndication over 1,000 sites across the world. The agent has the control to be able to display all of this information on a multitude of sites with the click of a button. So not only did they make it easy for them to search it, enter it, but they also made it easy for them to integrate it into their websites, public websites, and their back-end broker products that are there. With home energy information, they recognized that training was of importance, so they also launched specific training programs surrounding these new fields and green aspects of these fields. They've done newsletters, blogs, live trainings, online webinars, and even YouTube recorded webinars and tutorials on demand to help educate the brokers and agents surrounding this information. And many of these resources are available and applicable to other MLSs in the nation. What are they looking to do in the future? They're looking to continuously evolve what they are doing, work to populate the Helix data, looking to expand the PV data into the other states that they work with, such as Massachusetts next, and then looking into Connecticut, Rhode Island, etc., and also making power production data searchable and the courthouse retrieval system, CRS data, as agents have access to that tax information database in addition to the data that's automatically loaded into the multiple listing service. So from that perspective, we have a huge set of progress and successes out in the industry, with MLSs being able to augment and connect with home energy entities through RESO standards to be able to better serve their agents and their brokers, so the agents and brokers can better serve and educate their consumers on home energy information that's available on the properties that they're looking to sell, rent, lease, or purchase from that perspective. A couple of things we've made available for everyone that's out there. We have a free MLS marketing toolkit that has a lot of information in it that actually anyone can use. Home energy companies can use that, especially members that we have, and we have member logos, certified logos. We have recorded webinars and details about RESO standards, and even letters that you can use to send to brokers, MLSs, and other technology companies about adopting RESO standards. We've also, from the API perspective, just recently created free connector clients, and they are open source, so that anyone that wants to connect to an MLS like Pivotal Energy and get information so they can match it with solar data can do so with some free tools we have available, and they're available in many platforms such as Java, Python, PHP. W&R Studios, which is a company that's converting to the RESO Web API, has also made a free open source client in the Ruby platform. These are all available on our website as well as in the GitHub, and you can see the URLs that are there. We oftentimes have people that need developmental data, so the Austin Board of Realtors have made their MLS data available through 2 different certified web API platforms. It's free of charge. There's a form on our website that you can click to and fill out a data request, and within 24 hours, Austin will provide MLS data access for free for developmental purposes. The data is real data. However, since Texas is a non-disclosure state, the sold price on sold listings have been scrambled, and images have been scrambled for privacy protection of real homeowners and the real photos. But that is available for free. And for those companies that would like to adopt the data dictionary, the certification tool that we have is also open source, and it's available at ddcert.reso.org. You can log in anonymously, or you can create a guest account, and as you're adopting the RESO data dictionary, you can actually create the guest account and send us automatically testing results, and we can help you with the analysis of the tool, but really guide you on what to change to make the data set you have be RESO compliant. The last item that I wanted to mention is we do host 2 events every year at RESO. We combine the multiple listing service community with the brokerage community, the technology community, including home energy partners, and work together with everyone to be able to better flow data through data standardizations. So our upcoming conference is October 15th to the 18th in beautiful Milwaukee, where we will be talking about a lot of different topics, but one of those is the integration of home energy information and evolving the data dictionary standard to support more fields and values in other industries that can be brought into the multiple listing service. Finally, as I wanted to wrap up with a couple of bulleted items for those on the call, we would love to have everyone encourage the home energy data partners to get involved with RESO, adopt the standards, work with us to get certified, and let us help you connect with MLSs in your local market area to be able to integrate that data directly into the MLS and have that data available for brokers and agents and the end consumers that are there. I would encourage everyone to work with the Council of MLS as well, as they do a great job with multiple listing services and those guides that I showed earlier and the MLS best practices, as well as work with NAR's Home Sustainability Department that is actually newer. There's a new committee there as well, but also coordinate with the Department of Energy and any of the local entities that are out there to be able to connect local entities that have home energy information to be able to auto-populate that right within the local MLS. And RESO's happy to help facilitate any conversation we can to promote this out to the community. Finally, as you've seen some success stories today, we would love about the opportunity to brag about your success stories specifically. If you're interested in doing a case study, we would be happy to do so and help fund a case study for other local market areas. We would also be happy to promote your local efforts and successes out in presentations and webinars just like this online, and even in person when some of the venues that we speak at on a regular basis. And then finally, just being involved in RESO, attending the conferences and events, giving us your feedback on the standards we have today so we can continue to make them better for the good of the community. So I wanted to go ahead and open it up, Pamela and Deborah, if we have any question and answers.
All right, Pamela, will you unmute our guests? Just so you know, guests, you are about to be unmuted if you...
Guests are unmuted.
Great. All right, so I didn't, Pamela, let me know if you saw any questions come through on your side. I didn't see any on mine, but want to make sure we give everybody the opportunity to probe Jeremy with any burning questions that you might have.
It doesn't sound like we have any questions today. Hopefully I covered everything thoroughly. We did record the webinar, so we'll make that available. My contact information is right there on the screen. That's my email address and cell phone number. So after the fact, if you have questions or any areas I can help you out, connect with local MLSs, or give us feedback on the data dictionary, please feel free to reach out to me at any time if we don't have any questions online today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jeremy.
Thank you all. I really appreciate everyone that attended today and the opportunity to let you know kind of what we're doing at RESO, and hopefully get you all more involved and help us do a better job at integrating the home energy information out into the hands of brokers and agents through the multiple listing service, as well as the other products that they use on a regular basis. So Pamela, Deborah, thank you so much for inviting me to participate and hold this webinar today.
Thank you. Everybody have a wonderful day.
Thank you.